decided to record a little bit live. Well, show my face at least. I took my bonnet off my head. I've been working from home. This is the second week now. So they decided after my long day of sitting at the computer that I would just share some of the things that once again I've seen online, and to share some things that I've posted on the BYOK.com site. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like and dislike button. I'm always open for comments, criticisms, whatever. I just like to connect. But before we get into it, I just want to show you something that I saw that was a bit disturbing. So
I want to say sorry for America. Sorry for bringing the Chinese virus to the US. Sorry for being silent about what the CCP has done to conceal the truth and benefit the dissemination of Wuhan virus. Sorry for selfish buying in bulk. Sorry for spreading misinformation via WeChat, saying that the American army brought the virus to Wuhan. It's wrong. Sorry for any inconvenience of the virus. I also feel sorry for Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, and other Asians who are wrongly recognized and treated as Chinese. I am a Chinese, so I'm responsible for all bad things that the Chinese has done and the Chinese government has done. Like German today still say sorry for Jewish people for the genocide. And now the virus is killing more than that genocide. And the biggest fault is to allow that the CCP to lie and we don't stand up to oppose it. It is our fault. I know that Chinese exclusion is happening, and it's happening, and it is inescapable. And I fully understand the hatred towards Chinese. Eventually, if my family and I are innocent to get involved with this virus because of the evil regime, and meanwhile I am seeing many Chinese support this regime, I would hate Chinese more than others. As a Chinese, I think our race group should not step back from the duty and just saying that Chinese people are not the CCP member. Because I know a lot of Chinese living in America having green card and espousing the Chinese government. They are vested interest. And I know a lot of Chinese living abroad and teaching their children Chinese identity. Even their children get American passports. So I'm very shameful of my race. We should say sorry for every innocent person who is influenced by the Chinese virus. And I think the Chinese government should pay the cost and should pay huge amount of compensation to America. I hereby launch a movement called Say Sorry to America.
So yeah, that happened. I don't really know what to say about it. I know that there are speculations, conspiracy theories out there saying that China's the reason that the coronavirus is here, or we sent someone over there and dropped it out, over there as in China, and dropped it off there, and then somehow it spread across the world. There are so many conspiracy theories out there. And I used to be like a really big conspiracy theorist, but I find that you get so stuck in that stuff, you can't like shake it off. So I am just not going to play into any of it. But when I saw the video, I was just like, what is this? Like, what on earth is this? But anyway, I thought I'd share it with you guys and see if it was kind of creepy to you too. I really think that in my mind, this is just something that happened. Pandemics happen after so many years. And we are just bored out of our minds. We're sitting in the house, not too much, face-to-face contact. And of course we have time to come up with solutions as to why things are happening. Personally, I see it as God giving everyone some downtime. So I haven't heard of too many more deaths, but then I haven't been watching it as closely as before because it's a little disarming, and it's very sad to see people suffer, and there's nothing that they can do about it. So I'm just staying in the house and praying for families, especially those that can't work right now and need to work. I feel like it has definitely economically affected the United States and probably other parts of the world as well. But to lighten the note of this pandemic, I did see another semi-funny coronavirus video that I thought I'd share with you guys. It was hilarious. It really had me laughing. So here we go.
Fever head hoe. Why you got them declaring state of emergency with your contagious ass? All right, slay. Corona trying to run up, but I don't want no smoke. Next thing you know, I got a whole sore throat. They say we can't work, we gotta stay up in the house. But bitch, I got bills and my snacks ran out. I need toilet paper, my booty finna stink. City locked down and I can't even drink. I won't make it past a week, I'm about to be your gone. I can't do this anymore, man. Fuck Corona. Corona. Can't do this anymore, man. Fuck Corona. The city locked down in the streets.
So basically we need a sense of humor in all of this, right? I thought that was hilarious. It's a longer video, and as with most of my videos, I put the link down so you guys can check it out. I just kind of thought it was, I don't know, like, it was funny. I'm like, what is this? They really twerking. And he's supposed to be inside and they outside twerking. I don't know, it was hilarious. Yeah, so just to tear away from the pandemic for a minute. So I'm minding my own business. I don't know, like, sometimes when I'm on my phone, I get these weird news. I can't even think right now. Oh my God. I get these news feeds that just pop up on my Google. So one I saw today was about Taylor Swift. Apparently, some conversation that Kanye and her had about his song, and I can't even think of the name of the song. Probably should have read it before I read it again before I did. But the one where he said, "I made that be famous," that song right there. So apparently Taylor Swift told him not to release that lyric. But I don't know, like, Kim is saying that, you know, that was never up for discussion. Why won't she let it go? And here's the thing, like, that song came out like years ago. We know that Kanye doesn't even curse anymore, at least not in his music, you know, since he has transitioned to gospel. So I think the name of the song is Famous. I believe it is. And so yeah, so Taylor was like, yeah, you guys thought I was lying and I wasn't lying. He used that line when I deliberately told him not to. So I didn't go as far as digging to actually hear the leaked call, because I don't know, I guess I don't care that much. But I think it's just interesting that Taylor won't let this whole Kanye West thing go. I know he was very rude to her years ago at the awards, you know, and I feel like she said that he has reached out to her and apologized to her and has made efforts. And the fact that she's still picking up the phone and talking to him kind of makes me feel like it was some type of forgiveness there, yet she's still bringing it up. So I don't know. I really loved Kim Kardashian's response, which is why I'm even talking about this at all. Whether Kanye was right or wrong, she stood up for her man and she did it very eloquently. I don't really follow Kim that much. I am a huge fan of Kanye West. So when I follow him, I sometimes inadvertently follow her. So I'm gonna share to you the first picture is a clip or a screenshot of what Taylor Swift said when the full conversation was leaked, and then the rest of the responses are Kim on Twitter. So check this out. So basically, Kim wasn't having it. She said, Taylor, die down. It is a pandemic and you're still crying over something that happened years ago. So she read her rights in like 5 tweets. So yay, Kim, stand by your man, girl. So I guess I'll talk about something that's actually happened on my website. I don't know if you guys caught the 4-episode series of what is it? Oh God, my brain is just not working today. Self-Made. It is based off lightly, as I find out, lightly based off of the story of C.J., Madame C.J. Walker. So I'm watching this, I'm empowered, and I'm like, okay, her nemesis, if you haven't seen it, it might be a little bit of a spoiler alert, so don't watch this if you haven't seen it yet, or if you care about knowing things before actually watching them. So anyway, Addie Monroe, I believe, was Madame C.J. Walker's nemesis, and the movie kind of played on this colorism type deal where, you know, she as an Addie would demean Madame C.J. Walker for her skin color, and how, come to find out at the end, Madame C.J. Walker did take her formula and she expanded upon it, but in the movie it made it seem like Addie came from money, you know, that her husband, she married rich pretty much, because back in the day a lot of African American men would date mixed women because they were light skinned. That was the thing back then. And you know, I've written things about colorism on my site. If you want to check that out, BeHereOnKind.com. Always got a plug. So come to find out that is all wrong. Madame C.J. Walker is just for entertainment. Not her, but the show itself on Netflix is for pure entertainment and not really based on the true facts. So I found this out because, once again, I was perusing on YouTube and I came across 2 videos that actually explain who Addie Monroe was and what she was to her community in St. Louis. So I thought I'd share those videos with you back to back.
Inspired by the Madame C.J. Walker story, I think the movie would have been perfect. However, these are real people's lives, and it seems like a lot of people took this movie for face value and really felt like they were learning their history, and that's not at all what was happening. Now, without giving away the entire movie, I want to touch on the fact that the movie made her rival, Addie Monroe, real name Annie Malone, into a true villain, and the people of St. Louis are not having it. She was a hometown hero in St. Louis. The movie portrayed Annie as a fair-skinned woman who looked down upon Sarah Breedlove, later known as Madame C.J. Walker, for her complexion and her hair, when they pretty much had the same complexion and the same type of hair. Therefore, see, honey. Now, many of us were told growing up that Madame C.J. Walker was the very first African-American female millionaire, a businesswoman who amassed a fortune with her hair grooming empire for black women. However, very few people know that Malone was actually the very first African-American female millionaire, not Madame C.J. Walker. Now, if you listen to this movie, you would have believed that Malone was some type of stalker that was trying to find out what was in Madame C.J. Walker's formula, picked up everything to follow her to another state, which was not true. Why? Because she had her own coins, businesses, was a philanthropist herself, and sis was self-made. She didn't need that. Yet they seem to perpetuate the dark-skinned, light-skinned narrative between the two of these ladies as if the lighter was better than the darker. However, these women were the same complexion. Their issue had nothing to do about complexion. Their issue had something to do about business.
That's just the first one. Now, secondly, and this is not in order of importance, but secondly, one of the biggest lies told in the movie was that a mulatto woman named Addie Monroe rejected Madame C.J. Walker and would not let her sell her beauty products, her hair grower. This was a big theme throughout the entire movie. If you've seen the movie, you see that Madame C.J. Walker is haunted by this woman in real life. Everywhere that Madame C.J. Walker moves to, this woman moves to. and she's continually haunted by her. And the premise is that she wanted to be employed by this woman, this mulatto woman, but that this mulatto woman denied her because she was a dark-skinned woman with African features. And when I say African features, I mean a full nose and wide lips and dark skin. That's just not true. That's not true. And if I was a relative of, her real name is Annie Pope Turnbow Malone, if I was a relative of her, I would be upset by the way she was portrayed in this movie, because she did not reject Madame C.J. Walker from selling her products. She actually did hire her. She hired her. Despite what you see in the movie, that is completely fictitious. In real life, she did hire her. Addie Monroe, the character in the movie, is based on the real-life Annie Pope Turnbow. She was born in the small town of Metropolis, Illinois in 1869. And like Madame C.J. Walker, she was born to formerly enslaved parents, and she was also orphaned at an early age and later raised by her older sisters. She attended school through the beginning of high school, but eventually stopped going due to some health issues. I was able to locate her real-life information in the 1910 census, the federal census, 1910 for St. Louis City, St. Louis Ward 17, District 0269. She's listed in this census. She's listed as Annie, first name Annie, middle initial M, and last name Pope Turnbow. And she's actually listed as the head of the household. And at this time in 1910, she was 30 years old, and she lived with her brother. You see here, William R. Turnbow, that's her brother. The relationship is brother. And both of them are mulatto. And as far as her employment, it says that she's a proprietor. That means she's a business owner, and that she has her industry is education. Her industry is school, and she's self-employed. She works on her own account. Now, what I want you to look at is the people who live with her. She has at least 10 boarders. All of these people, when you look at their relation to the head of household, they're all boarders. So she has all these people living with her as boarders. So she's a very industrious woman, is my point. Even before her hair industry took off, she ran a boarding house. She's always been an industrious woman from what I can see based on the facts. In 1900, at the age of 31, Annie moved to Lovejoy, Illinois, and started mixing and experimenting with different ingredients, and she soon developed her signature product, which she called the Wonderful Hair Grower. After Annie moved to St. Louis, in anticipation of the 1904 World's Fair, correctly assessing that the hubbub and large crowds would help her products catch on, she hired Sarah Breedlove, Madame C.J. Walker, as a sales agent. It's not clear how or when they met before working together. It depends on who you ask. But Annie said that she personally cured Madame C.J. Walker's scalp issues, and it does seem plausible that she may have been telling the truth. To grow her business, she often knocked on doors offering free scalp treatments. So it is possible that she did knock on the door of Madame C.J. Walker, Sarah Breedlove. After Madame C.J. Walker married C.J., Charles Joseph Walker, and later struck out on her own, competing with Annie, the two seemed to have some kind of falling out. So Madame C.J. Walker was a saleswoman for several years for Annie or Addie, and eventually they fell off. There's no information recorded as to why they fell out or why their relationship fell off, but they fell out.
So basically, that movie is just first take. Doesn't seem like any of the facts are actually facts. Maybe it was to play on women empowerment, or to highlight the issues of colorism. I don't know. Whatever the case, real story pretty much is Miss Sarah worked up under Addie or Annie, and decided to do her own thing. And for some reason she was more commercial, and got the spot of the first woman millionaire, and Eddie for some reason didn't. We'll never know how that happened or transpired. But what we do know is Madame C.J. Walker, she created this sense of beauty, of black beauty, where we weren't used to, at the time we weren't used to being pampered and spending our money on beauty because, quote unquote, we didn't have the money for it. Money was only for food and shelter and things of that sort. However, I want to believe in the Caucasian era. The Caucasians during that era were spending money on beauty, getting your hair done and things like that, and that just wasn't a thing for us. Especially, that was probably a couple of decades after we were even free. So being beautiful was probably the last thing on our mind. But she changed the whole dynamics of that. You can be beautiful, you can be successful, you can be a professional. You are not just going to school just to go to school, and this is for all women. You are actually, can use that education and glow up, So just want to thank her for her contributions and thank Miss Annie for her contributions, although they're not really documented or stated anywhere in history. But just because it's not in history books doesn't mean that it didn't happen, which we know. This is why I love the whole internet Google age, because you get to learn a real story. Like, you don't have to just digest what's fed to you. You can actually read different types of things on the net or YouTube, and it'll give you a different perspective or give you a more broader view of whatever happened in that story. So anyway, I thought that was really really informative. So my review is just based on what I saw in the movie. Now we know that it's not a case of facts at all. So just leave your comments on anything that I talked about in this week recap, because I am really excited to talk and chat with you guys about these different topics. Also, I'm still working on my live. I'm using my computer, which is why I'm able to actually get some more videos pushed out. So I don't know if I should just start going live and without any plans, but I don't like to not have any plans on what I'm going to talk about. So I'm still trying to figure that thing out. But until next time, I'll see you next week for at least the week recap. And just remember to be your own kind, be healthy, be safe. If you don't need to go outside, just don't go outside. We will be outside soon in the world, so just sit tight, spend time with your family. Today is my husband's birthday, yay! So we had so many plans, and now that is going to change to being in the house and spending time together. And really, when you think about it, that's probably the best way to spend your birthday anyway. All right then, well, until next time, be your own kind. Bye.